It's like I have to limbo to get in here. Hey crafters and stashers, welcome to the CraftStash podcast. I'm your host, Kim. Hey guys, welcome to today's episode. Today's Sunday, February 21st, 2016. Happy birthday, Nina Simone. And also, we wanted to let you know that ladies love mountains. That's the theme for today's show. So, you might notice a slightly different background. I'm in a cabin in the woods. Shh, don't tell anyone because if you have seen that movie, it's scary as hell. It's really funny, but really scary. It's daytime, so it's okay. We can speak the name of the movie and not freak out. But yeah, if you haven't seen the show before, welcome, welcome, welcome. This is a show where I talk about what I'm crafting, what I'm stashing, a little bit of periphery, and sometimes I pop in some media news. If you've been here before, pull up a chair, grab a hot cup of something yummy, an alcoholic if you're allowed to drink alcohol, and let's get the show started. So, like I said, I'm in a cabin in the woods in a town called Fairplay, up in the hills, or the mountains rather, of Colorado. There are definitely hills here, but there's way more mountains. I'll show you some pictures later. And I had a really, really great weekend with a couple of friends, and the dog and the husband in a cabin in the woods, and it was really, really nice. Today's our last morning here, so I figured I would record a quick show because I did finish some projects. So I guess that means let's start with what I'm crafting. So if you've seen the show before, if you're on my Instagram, you know I've been knitting a sweater for my dog Polu. He's a really, really sweet dog. He's nice and husky chested, and I was knitting him a sweater specifically for this weekend because we're up in the mountains. It's much colder than it is down in Denver. The past week or so we've had temperatures near the 70s in Denver, which has been awesome considering that it's still February, but it's also been a little bit disconcerting because if I'm going into the mountains, I'm not sure how cold it's going to be in the mountains. So, knowing that the mountain temperatures were going to be way colder, I wanted to make the dog a sweater, even though he's got lots of meat and fur on him. I thought it would just be a cute thing because now I am that woman who knits dog sweaters. So I finished the sweater literally in the cabin yesterday morning when we arrived. And here it is. Sounds dog, of course. But it works by let's see, how do I explain this? So the pattern is the Everyday Greyhound sweater, I want to say. Free pattern on Ravelry. Pretty straightforward and easy to follow. You basically work in the round for a neck tube, then you break off and work back and forth for the back portion, and you kind of keep going till just about, the hip bones of the dog, right about here. And then you pick up along the side and you make a side panel that buttons on the other side. So obviously some mods that I made were that the sweater is made for greyhounds, which have long skinny necks, very long graceful bodies. My dog is a little bit stout, kind of like me and my husband. So the neck band had to be wider and also not as long. So I basically just kept trying it on him because I worked it in the round on circular needles. So I just made sure to keep going until it hit him just about here on the chest. And then I started working back and forth. And because I was trying to use up yarn, this is made in Madeline Tosh, her Tosh DK, held double. I was trying to, use some leftover sweater yarn that I had, so I decided to do some color work on the back just in case I didn't have enough of the dark blue yarn. I had plenty, so I was able to finish off. And then for the side panel, the other modification that I decided to do is that my dog gets very wriggly and happy when he knows he's going outside, so I didn't want to have to sit and fiddle with a button. I made button holes just in case I changed my mind, but I didn't want to have to button it on him because, like I said, he's wriggly, so when he's outside, the button might have popped off anyway. So I just picked up along one edge and knitted. Actually, I picked up along this edge and knitted until it fit over his chest. He's got a 28-inch wide chest, which I thought I'd have to do a lot longer band, but since this is so stretchy, it's garter. Plus, there's all of this that helps cover on his back. I just decided to measure it on him, and when it was enough to kind of get to the other side of his chest, I just did a 3-needle bind off on this side, so this way I don't have to worry about closures. So the way that I put it on him is I put both sides, like if this were his little doggy head, I would kind of just slip both pieces on, and then slip each of his legs in one at a time on either side, and then that's it. So it worked really, really nicely, except for the fact that we were going snowshoeing with the dog, and there were really deep snowdrifts that were like 3 and 4 feet tall. Seriously. I was sinking in up to my waist in certain areas, so the dog would kind of be running and like totally fall through the snow and have to dig his way out. and the longer he was out, the soggier this got with snow, the heavier it got, and it just actually started to slip all the way off of him because this is so stretchy that it slipped off of the rest of his body. So that's fine because I don't think I'm gonna go snowshoeing with the dog in 3 and 4 foot snow drifts all the time. I think for city wearing and for like light walking in the snow, this is perfect. So yay! I don't think I'm gonna wash and block it because this has a lot of stretch and it already fits him very nicely. So I don't want it to stretch out even more, otherwise it's going to be way too loose. The good news about that though is that it'll fit over his harness, so that's great. If you're into dog sweaters, I hope you like this really long explanation of this pattern. I would definitely make it again. It's not super adaptable for smaller dogs, obviously, because there's so many modifications that you'd have to make, but if you have a dog that's around 30 pounds and up and pretty long, chest inches, chest circumference of at least 25 inches, I highly recommend it as a very customizable, easy pattern. So yay for finished objects. So the other project that I brought with me was some spindle spinning. Now, I haven't spun in a year and a half, pretty much ever since I've moved here. Just haven't really been in the spirit for it. I was hanging out with another knitting friend and we were talking about having lost our knitting mojo for a little while, and that's happened to me off and on ever since I've lived in Colorado. So I figured for this weekend, given that I'd be finishing a knit project, it'd be nice to just do some non-productive crafting is what I consider spinning, because I'm a process spinner and a product knitter. I can finally say that. I'm very motivated by finishing things when I knit, but when I spin, it's really because I just want my hands to be doing something and get lost in the motions. So long story short, I brought 2 different spindles along because I wasn't sure if I wanted to spindle spin, drop spindle spin, or if I wanted to supported spindle spin. So I brought my trusty Erin Makes Stuff. I think this is a Tibetan style supported spindle. It's got these lovely, I don't know if you can really see very well, but it's black colored pencils with rainbow lead inside, and they're just kind of all stuck together with clear resin, so it's actually a gorgeous spindle with ebony wood for the shaft, super sharp, spins super fast. So I brought this one, and then I brought my trusted drop spindles. The only drop spindles that I really love that I can use anymore are the Goldings, so this is my matching ebony wood mini drop spindle from Golding. So yeah. So I used both of these this weekend, and the fiber that I'm spinning is some really, really, really delicious. You can see for me it's weird that it's not a color. You know me, I love colorful stuff. So this is actually some Paco Vicuna, which is a hybrid animal. I don't know what the Paco is. Alpaca Vicuna. Because I guess we can't get real Vicuna in this country, apparently. So it's about 1 ounce of Paco Vicuna from Estes Park, Colorado, Switzerland farm. So it's nice and local. And I'm spinning the 2 colors. It came in a natural, which is this color. I don't know if you can see. It's just cream, super, super soft and fluffy, spinning up really, really fine. And the other color is kind of like a honey oatmeal color from 2 different animals, equally soft, a little bit more, it's very soft, but this color for some reason is a little bit just more tactile and rough. So I don't know if that means it has a thicker grist or if there's just like a lower micron count. I'm not really a technical spinner, so I don't know all of these numbers and stats, but it's spinning up equally fine, as you can see. So what I'm going to do when these 2 guys are done, 1 ounce of each color, I'm just going to apply them together and have a very nice oatmeal twined colored yarn. So yay for that. And of course, because I'm support spindling, this is the support spindle lap bowl that I have. This is from Flutterbee's Knits. I forget what the name of her shop is. And because the tip of my supported spindle is so sharp, I'm using this glass dish that I got on Etsy. Once I look up the name of the vendor, I'll put it back up. But this way, I don't have to worry about the really sharp end of the supported spindle kind of digging holes into my soft wooden bowl. So yeah, so that's been my setup for the weekend. Yay! So spindling has been awesome. Being in the woods has been awesome. And because I'm trying to be good, I'm not stashing anything this episode. I didn't buy any craft supplies since the last time we talked, which is good. I'll tell you what I wanted to buy, though. I was hanging out with my friend Maria, who does the Subway Knits podcast, because she's moving to Denver, or she's moving to Colorado, sometime soon, and I'm really excited about that. Our other friend, Kristen, does Vine podcast. I'm sure you guys know her. It's the Yarngasm podcast, rather, and she has Vine yarns, and this weekend I was super tempted to buy this lovely fiber from her just because I'm still really into speckled yarns, and I managed to resist temptation, but hopefully if you caught her update, maybe you caught this particular beautiful yarn that I had my eye on. So congrats, Kristen. Business is going really, really well, and your colors are still very, very enticing. Yay. Next up in our podcast rotation is Media Mix. So Media Mix is where I talk about things that I've been reading, watching, listening to, just kind of in the media, just because I think one of my many, many aliases in my long history of internetness was Media Maven. Just because I love just ingesting pop culture and music and books and art and color and inspiration. So I figured I'd add that to the podcast. So for Media Mix this week, I have a book that I'm trying to read, and I'm probably going to stop reading it very, very soon. I'm a super picky reader, and it's okay. I think as long as you kind of embrace who you are fully, that's okay. So, like I said, I'm a super picky reader. I picked up this book, Subrosa, from our local library, downtown Denver library, mostly because 2 or 3 different things in Denver have the name Subrosa. And they're all hipster things. One of them is a restaurant or a coffee bar or something called Subrosa, and the other one is a clothing brand that sells vintage clothing. And that's purely the only reason that I was walking in the library and saw this title and was like, oh, I'll check this out. The back, I'll just read the back of it for you. Okay, so here's the synopsis on the back of the book, that after seeing the title and seeing the very like punk rock DIY zine kind of cover, I was like, maybe I'll try reading this book. In this stunning debut novel, Amber Dawn subverts and transgresses the classic hero's quest adventure to create a dark post-feminist vision not for the faint of heart. Little, Subrosa's reluctant heroine, is a teenage runaway unable to remember her real name. She stumbles into an underground society of ghosts and magicians, missing girls and would-be Johns, a place called Subrosa. Not long after she's initiated into this family of magical prostitutes, Little is called upon to lead Subrosa through a maze of feral darkness, both real and imagined, a calling burdened with grotesque enemies, strange allies, and memories from a foggy past. Subrosa is a beautiful and gutsy allegory of our times, a fairy tale like Fantasia imbued with a grave, unapologetic realness. Sounds pretty interesting, right? You know you're going to read some shit that you're just like, oh, this makes me uncomfortable, but you're also going to read some stuff that's kind of magical and just like makes you think about life in different ways. And now that I reread the back of the synopsis, I might give it a second try, but like I'm a really picky reader, and at the very, very beginning, the writing is really, really choppy. In a way, I guess it's supposed to be kind of making you feel allied with the main character Little, and like she can't remember anything, and just the way she thinks about things is very just like thought, squirrel, but reading that is kind of tricky for me, so I kind of put it down over the weekend. I started it on Friday, and then I was just like, oh god, I don't know if I can read this, so I might give it a second chance, but I figured I'd talk about it because it's what I'm reading. The other thing in my media mix is, yay, it's Black History Month. Won't go into the politics about how I feel about Black History Month. I never really like make a big deal of it. I feel like every month should be Black History Month. I feel like every month should be Asian American History Month. I feel like every month should be Latino and Hispanic History Month. But whatever. I'm really glad that we get 29 whole days this year. But I really am wanting to watch the PBS documentary on the Black Panthers, mostly because I'm very uneducated about who they really were. And with the whole like Beyonce thing swirling around, you know, I'm an opportunist sometimes, and if this is a good time for me to delve into the real history of the Black Panthers, I think that's amazing, because honestly, I probably wouldn't do it otherwise. So I'm going to be watching that PBS documentary, and I might talk about it next time I record, but I figured I would talk about me wanting to watch it, because it's my podcast, and I can do that. So that's it for Media Mix. Last up is Periphery. So for Periphery, I'm going to do that fun thing that I sometimes do, and hopefully you think it's fun too, where I just kind of do a photo montage. We've had a beautiful weekend in the woods. Greg and I recently discovered that we both mutually like snowshoeing, which is a really easy winter sport to get into. We were talking with our friends about how it's not as expensive as getting into skiing or snowboarding, and it's also not as dangerous. for those of us like me who don't like speed and don't like heights and don't like going fast and don't like the cold. So we did some snowshoeing this weekend, and our friend Corey was with us, and she was very, very excited because she was like, oh my god, I've been living here a year and a half, and now I finally have a winter sport that I enjoy. So yay for snowshoeing. But yeah, we brought both of our dogs. Polu was here. Maria's dog Adele was here. It was really, really nice because they got along together. Our dog is pretty intensely a people person dog and not really a dog person dog. Does that make sense? Anyway, Polu has very little patience around other dogs but loves people. So Adele is kind of the same way. So they got along swimmingly, which was awesome. So it was really great to spend some time with some dog people that don't have a like really intense little yappy dog. So yeah, we'll probably be hanging out with them a lot more when they move to town. So just wanted to share that with you, and here's a cute little photo montage. I think it's cute. Hopefully you enjoy it. Shout out to my sister Stephanie, who always watches these things because we miss each other so much. I'm excited to see you in the summer when we get to see Beyonce together. Yay! Dan, same here. Can't wait to do our little Britney Spears. What was that Britney Spears movie when she goes on a road trip with her friends to see a concert? I don't know. We'll do that kind of thing this summer. But yeah. So thanks so much for spending some time with me, and I hope to see you soon. In the meantime, if you can't craft it, stash it. Cheers.
If I was a poet, see, I